All right, want to get the dinner rolls flying at the next family gathering? Mention religion, sex, or our next topic, affirmative action. Commentator Cris Franco has more.
Affirmative action was going to be the great equalizer, allowing more Americans access to the top colleges by leveling off a playing field which was tilted against you if you were of color, impoverished, physically handicapped, or a woman.
I'm just a girl who can't say no.
You know what I mean. When the playing field is tilted against you, it's much harder to get in the door. So, how does this much maligned program work? College admissions used to be an alphabet soup of GPAs and SATs. That's your grade point average and your standardized admission test scores.
We don't need no stinking test scores.
Yes, you do. In fact, to get into one of the high-ranking institutes of higher learning, you need a high SAT score. Deciding college admissions based solely on SAT scores and GPAs would be simple as deciding who jumped the highest, or who had run the farthest, or who colored the quickest. No controversy. The winner simply won. But affirmative action treats college entrances like judging Olympic diving. It isn't just how well you do the dive. They also consider the difficulty of the dive attempted. So if you had an SAT score slightly lower than this guy, but you achieved this score while working 2 jobs or attending a dilapidated school that doesn't have a lot of textbooks, you were allotted a few more points. Pretty soon, college admissions boards developed some very complicated formula. Okay, you got 20 points if you were African American, Native American, or Hispanic, 10 points if you demonstrated leadership qualities, and 6 points for a history of overcoming adversity. I drive an Apache, which is sort of a Native American car. So we go from the 60 to the 30 here. Add 3, which is 11 from the 60 equals 20 points. I have some leadership qualities, but I don't really have a 10. So that is actually -10 and -10. That's a -20. So we're going to go back from 45 to the 3 plus 44, and that equals equality, right? Is this equality? Yes! No! Who knows? Critics of affirmative action don't think so. They worry that qualified students are being denied entrance into top universities simply because they're Caucasian, middle class, able-bodied, or a man. California has replaced affirmative action with a plan that allows the top 4% of any graduating class from any high school to be admitted into most state colleges and universities. So students are competing with their own peers. Well, that should be a level playing field, right? Well, it's a lot more level than Yale's playing field when it allotted George W. Bush legacy points just because his father was an alumni and benefactor. Other students admitted to Yale that year scored an average 1386 on their SATs. Bush got 1196. Which is like letting someone start the race 10 feet ahead of everybody else just because their father helped build the stadium. I, like most Americans, agree that we need a colorblind educational system where everyone is judged by their academic excellence. But how can a college prepare students for the real world's global economy if its student body doesn't represent the real world? So perhaps the real reason behind keeping affirmative action on campus is that affirmative action might keep your campus real. I'm sure of one thing. If the brain power and the dollars spent fighting affirmative action had been spent improving our nation's neediest schools, today there might not be a need for affirmative action. There. That's my report. Now, do you all understand affirmative action?
Yes, Mr. Franco! Yes, Mr. Franco!
mister! Great. Now, can one of you please explain to me SpongeBob SquarePants?